will be Rath. According to Healthline, approximately 40,000 people will be diagnosed with type 1 diabetes in 2019. Type 1 diabetes is becoming seemingly more common in today's society, so it's important we know a little bit more about it. My brother Levi, for example, has been battling type 1 for about 4 years now, so I've been able to witness it firsthand. In this speech, I'll talk about what type 1 diabetes is, the symptoms, and the possible negative long-term health effects it can have. To start, let's talk about what type 1 diabetes is. Type 1 diabetes is a chronic disease in which the pancreas produces little or no insulin. This is because the immune system attacks the insulin-producing cells, making it an autoimmune disease. According to the book Diseases, chances of developing type 1 largely relies on a person's genetics. After my brother was diagnosed, the entire family had to go get their blood drawn and get screened, as they call it. This process can give a person an idea of whether or not they will develop the disease. Type 1 usually reveals itself during adolescence. Between 2011 and 2012, 18,000 people under the age of 20 were diagnosed with type 1. Now that we know what type 1 is, let's talk about some of the symptoms it may entail. If a person is hospitalized and they're diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, they're most likely going through diabetic ketoacidosis. DKA, as it is also referred to, shares many symptoms with the flu. Many of these include nausea, weight loss, dehydration, loss of appetite, and vomiting. Unlike the flu, however, the vomit that may occur during DKA is almost sweet smelling. This is because the liver is releasing ketones to break down fat. Acetone is a byproduct of ketones and is the cause for the sweeter smell. Lastly, as diabetes is a lifelong disease, it can have negative health effects if not handled properly. Type 1 can cause blindness due to an increased chance of developing cataracts and glaucoma. Diabetes can also cause nerve damage, especially in your feet and hands, and if it's bad enough, it can lead to amputation of these limbs. The chance of heart and blood vessel problems also dramatically arise when someone develops diabetes. The Johns Hopkins Guide to Diabetes for Today and Tomorrow state that this is the leading cause of death in people with diabetes. So in conclusion, I talked about the symptoms, what the disease is, and the possible negative long-term health effects you have if not handled properly. I was hopefully able to inform you a little bit about type 1 in case it affects you or someone you know in the future. On screen are some notable people living with type 1 diabetes. We have Nick Jonas, and he was diagnosed at age 13. Jay Cutler was diagnosed at age 22. And then Mark Andrews was diagnosed at 9 years old. Thanks.